80s, early 90s, we all have the same similar background.
Yeah.
The whole disco-fied, soca-fied,
Yeah.
Caribbean, African background. That's what drew us to house music in the first place.
Yeah.
It's just amazing.
And so, G, I mean, I remember being a young child,
Yes.
and I'm not going to age us, you or I.
Oh, you're going to age me anyway, so it's all
I'm
good.
not going to age myself either, but I would just remember listening to CKLN 88.1, and I have to
Right.
say, the reason why I'm here today is because of people like you, actually.
Oh,
Absolutely.
Absolutely, like, hands down. Tell us about your radio journey.
Seriously.
Because you have a history of radio here in Toronto. Tell us about that.
Absolutely, yeah.
that means a lot to me, man, because lately I've reconnected with Dave Ahmad.
Oh,
And
yeah, yeah.
He's the one that's influenced me, you know, to be a part of CKLN and to be a part of radio and everything like that. So, I mean, coming from you, I mean, I so appreciate it.
No, I really mean that. So, tell us about your journey with radio. How did you get started at CKLN, and was there stuff before that?
Well, there's a lot of stuff way before that. The club scene, the warehouse scene, the after-hours scene, even production as well too.
Yeah.
But that happened by accident. I met a guy by the name of Kevin Johnson, who was known throughout the early 2000s as
KJ.
He had a lot of hit records out at the time.
Yeah.
Well, this was even before he had the records out. And we just got to talking, and he said he was going to do a show called Midnight Madness. So I was like, oh, well, could I come and hang out? And, you know, went into the radio station, and it was like, it wasn't even as nice as this one here.
Yeah. We're under renovations, by the way, if you can't, and nobody knows.
This
so,
is
yeah.
still nicer than what CKLN was like.
Oh,
I mean, there's even a legendary couch in the vocal booth that everyone talks about. That
Right.
Lord knows what happened on the couch.
Many
But,
things.
but I went in there and I just saw the interaction and, you know, just the live interaction between people calling in, making requests or asking, what is that song? What is that song? And it was like, wow, this is really cool. And then when they did the announcement of the club updates, which were like the parties and everything, the warehouse parties and
Yes.
whatnot, it was like, wow, this, you know what? There's even more to this community than just going to an after hours or just going to a party. There's some stuff happening on radio that's letting people know, and plus, it's throwing the music out to the public.
Yeah.
And back then, you could not access the music. It was
No
only
way.
radio.
It was hard.
That was it.
It was
Yeah.
hard. I mean, even to get like advanced copies from labels, you had to tell people, well, I do this radio show. Please, could you send me some records? And they had to study that stuff. I remember Gladys Pizarro came down to the radio station one time, and somehow she happened to be there, and somehow I had a copy of Beautiful People before it was even pressed
Wow.
on cassette. And she was like, how the hell did you guys get that? And I conveniently forgot at the moment, but then the next thing you know, like Strictly Rhythm was sending me releases in the mail, because
Right.
you just had to prove yourself back then. You had to say, okay, well, I'm going to play the music for you, I'm going to push your music, kind of thing. So getting back to Kevin Johnson, I went and I said, well, you know, Kevin, could I play an hour on your show? Maybe once, or, you know, once a month or whatever. And he was like, well, why don't you and I was DJing with another friend, Charles, at the time. Why don't you and Charles come on, you know, as my DJs? I think it was with Kenny Glasgow. Kenny Glasgow
Right.
was actually the DJ at that point. So that's how I got started. It was just from that. And then a few years later, coming from gigs, I was hanging out at CKLN. I was there like 3 nights a week. Hanging out at different shows.
Yeah.
And
I would see you there.
Yeah, seriously, yeah, that's right. I think that was one of the ways I met Davidson at the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I would go to Fair Edit,
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
and Shams, Peter, and Tyrone would be playing. But because I was doing a gig, I would arrive later, and I would walk in on the hip hop show, and it would be Jason Palma's brother. So I would hang out with Jason Palma's brother and Alistair Tulloch, who had a show called Black Wax at the time. And we'd be just playing dominoes and whatever, and then
I remember
at
that.
7, 8 in the morning, I'd just go home after my gig, after the radio station. So one day, I was hanging out at a party at Power Bar that Mitch Winthrop was playing.
Power Bar.
Yep.
On Adelaide Street, right?
Yeah. And Alistair came up to me and said, listen, man, I can't do this anymore. Can you do my show for me? And then, bam! That's when Vibes and Vinyl was born. This is November. As a matter of fact, it was October the 1st, 1996.
Wow.
Yeah, that's when Vibes and Vinyl, myself and Raper saw it.
Yeah.
Who was an up-and-coming DJ at the time. I was actually teaching her how to mix and stuff like that. I said, okay, why don't you host it? I'll play. And got to the point where we were just both DJing and hosting it, and that turned into like 16 years.
Wow.
16 years. It just passed. It just went like that. And now I'm hosting my own show on Friday nights, iLive Radio, which is actually an internet radio station. Myself and Jason, Ronnie, and a whole bunch of us founded this. And it was in the beginning. The whole idea was, let's create a radio station that will pick up where CKLN left off.
Yeah. Right.
In programming,
right.
Whether it be Paradise Garage Classics, New House, Deep House, any kind of house music, and R&B and funk and just anything. Basically, same type of programming that CKLN had. And
big up Masimba.
Yes,
yeah,
Masimba was in on those meetings, man. We'd be sitting at a cafe in Scarborough and just talking, how are we going to do this? Are we going to get a space? How much is it going to cost us? And all that kind of stuff. And then Jason just single-handedly turned that around. And 3 years, 2 weeks ago, or actually it might even be this week, we are 3 years old, iLive Radio.
And a huge success iLive Radio has been, like the sustainability, professionalism.
I can't believe how fast things have just progressed.
Although we have the I in common, there's no relation technically.
I was going to ask you that. Did you sell them the I?
No, I
didn't. Don't give him ideas.
So Davidson, back to you.
Yeah.
You brought a few tracks this morning for us to play.
Yeah.
Let's get into that, and then when we get back after the music, we'll chat about the party coming up tomorrow night.
Absolutely.
It's a very special 18-year anniversary.
Yeah.
There's a bit of a theme behind it, so we'll chat about that. So I got a couple of tracks here. We got.
Before you get into that, I was wondering, is there a way we can give away 2 tickets or get someone to do some trivia or?
Absolutely, we can totally do that. Absolutely,
right.
absolutely. So let's play the tracks. We'll come back and we'll invent a skill testing question.
Yeah.
Okay. And make people work for it, and people can call in and grab some tickets.
All right.
Okay, so I got a couple of tracks here. I got Push and Pull. We'll drop that one first. Do you want to talk about that one?
Yeah, Push and Pull has got my boy Paul Knight, who's also going to be performing tomorrow night. He's playing sax on it. There's no vocals on that one. I'm playing percussion in the background, as well as Alan Legal. The album and that track was produced by Davidson Elie. Or Vince Vega is his DJ name. And who else was in on that? I believe that was it. Yeah, that was it. That was the crew at the time. We put that all together.
And then we'll play another track of this one called
Snakeskin.
Snakeskin, yes.
Yeah.
Tell us about that one.
Snakeskin is a real cool track. It's Omar Savosa is another person that was on that album. Omar is featured in this one. He's playing a rhythm called Guanguanco, which is a Afro-Cuban rhythm. It comes from Cuba. The idea behind this rhythm, it's about a snake shedding its skin and rebirth and new beginnings. And I wanted to kind of throw that into the track, hence why it's called Snakeskin. So there's conga. It's based on conga and quinto, which is a rhythm that Omar's playing, and then we're supporting that rhythm. And then I'm doing a little bit of voiceover on there as well, and Paul Knight's singing and playing sax in that one. It's real dope, and it's old school, and it's the flavor.
Excellent. I got in the studio with me this morning, Gene King and Davidson talking about the iDRUM 18-year anniversary, a bit of club history in Toronto. Warehouse.
Yeah.
And a bit of radio history. So we'll be back in a flash. We got a couple tracks to play, and we'll chat with you guys a bit more.
Yeah, man.
Sweet.